Alright, look. I need to put my money where my mouth is and teach you how to begin writing in meter. And if I'm going to do that, there's only one natural place to start, and that is with iambic pentameter. Iambic pentameter in poetry is a line of verse composed of 10 syllables arranged in 5 metrical feet, or iambs, each of which consists of an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable, ba ba. The lines can be rhymed, as in sonnets, or heroic couplets, or pairs of end-rhymed lines found in epic or narrative poetry, or unrhymed, as in blank verse. The term derives from the Greek word iambos, or metrical foot. This rhythmic structure was introduced to the English language in the 14th century by Geoffrey Chaucer in works such as his epic poem Troilus and Cressida and the Canterbury Tales. Iambic pentameter has been the predominant meter in English verse since the 16th century. Its unstressed, stressed beat is meant to mimic the human heartbeat. Shakespeare used its rhythm and flow regularly to pace his plays and sonnets, like, "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines." And Milton showcased it in his epic poem Paradise Lost, written in blank verse, or unrhymed iambic pentameter, also known as Miltonic verse, of man's first disobedience and the fruit of that forbidden tree, whose mortal taste brought death into the world, and all our woe with loss of Eden, till one greater man restore us and regain the blissful seat. Now there are some common variations as well. Some poets will invert the first iamb, "Tell me the names of all the men who lied," or invert the last, "To be or not to be, that is the question." Technically, an inverted iamb is a trochee. Passion, outward, foreman, exit, papa. A line of trochaic pentameter would sound like this: "Power forces you to injure people. Papa, 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 papa." Sounds pretty cool, metrically. All right. To begin with, you need to train your inner ear, which takes us to step 1. Read a lot of iambic verse, and read without scanning or forcibly trying to feel the meter. And there's plenty of stuff to read. Here are some excellent options. For blank verse, you've got Milton's Paradise Lost, William Wordsworth's Prelude, and if you want something a little more modern and excellent, Emily Wilson's translations of the Homeric epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey. Fantastic. For rhymed verse, you've got Shakespeare's sonnets, one that I read some of, Alexander Pope's Dunciad, and Byron's English bards and Scotch reviewers. The secret to reading metered writing is easy. 4 words. Read it like prose. That's it. Simple as that. Follow the punctuation. If it is a group of enjambed lines, or lines of verse that continue beyond the first line, read them like prose. If there's no punctuation at the end of the line, just keep reading. And whenever there is punctuation, whether in the middle of the line or at the end, pause or stop as it is written. Here's an example of enjambment in a poem from my book Zagra Zephyr's Volume 1. Between the statues there were niches in the walls with ornate terracotta jars, detailed with vibrant shades of indigo, turquoise, azure, and jade, with wondrous scenes of famous battles, each embellished with choice lines from epic poems by Sadur, whose heliopic hanging odes brought fame eternal to the line of Ra-Issa. All right, step 2. Read everything you've read again, this time while simultaneously scanning the lines. This is an important analytical skill to develop. It may seem tedious, but it becomes addictive as you noticeably improve your capacity to effortlessly scan lines and eventually begin reading Paradise Lost like water. Step 3. Hand copy those lines that you've read. If you are copying perfect 10-syllable lines of iambic pentameter for hours and days and weeks and months on end, you are training your inner ear to sense and eventually ingrain that rhythm in your being and in your brain. Education through imitation and repetition. That is the key. Follow these steps, and you will master writing in iambic pentameter. The sun will shine on my back door someday. I told you not to share my recipe. If ever I could walk and talk like you, remember me whenever you reflect on how to write in meter properly. You get the idea. Until next time, ciao.